talking about Jimmy, something from Jimmy Witherspoon. Nobody knew who he was.
Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis. Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Just kept on going.
Live from Pahrump, Nevada, the Valley of the Dirt People. It's Tech Talk Tuesday with your host, Jimmy Lewis and Logan Tyler.
Logan is fat.
That's how we start the show.
I'm going to start pushing those buttons. Those are cool.
No, don't touch anything. Like, it's literally a shit show. It's
Hi,
been called it before.
My name's Logan.
Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. This is episode number 220. My name is Jimmy Lewis. I'm joined tonight by a few people's favorite co-host. Not many, but a few.
No, my following's pretty big. How many people in the class this weekend were talking about me?
In a good way or a bad way?
Well, it's irrelevant. It's
Irrelevant.
clicks.
It's yeah, that's right.
Irreverent.
As long as
Yeah.
they spell your name correctly. So show 220. We got some people in the chat. Of course, George was the first person to get in the chat. Wanted to be there. We got Gronk. We got Mark Daniels, who made it this week. He's got 4 tacos and 1 beer. I have absolutely 0 beers.
You tried to quit, sort of. You
Tried.
throttled it back.
I'm successful.
But you said you got cravings, which indicates to me you got a problem. I've been drinking for over a year, and I don't think I've had any kind of craving or issue.
I would really like to have beer. I just wonder when that's going to go away. I don't
Who's
think
that?
it is going to go away.
I gotta scoot closer. I know that's
No,
gonna
no,
make you.
that's really weird. You really
Can you
want to
make
scoot
that
closer.
comment screen bigger? Do you need all that other
Crap
junk on there?
Oh yeah, all that other junk is important. All the junk that they can't see. It's important. This is how we do this show. And you, when you walked by the camera, you see you messed it up. It should be over a little bit, but that's okay. We won't use that. Hopefully the feed is actually coming through.
You getting it, Alan? Okay.
I made some adjustments. I fixed some things. It shouldn't be as bad as last week, but this could be the last ever episode of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Do you know this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it could be.
Could be at any point, because I currently have no more commitments. I'm not bound in any way to do this show any longer. Except
how were you bound to this point?
Had advertisers that I had contracts with that they've essentially
they ran out.
I've let them all.
out.
Well, a lot of them I let them go, and they were getting free advertising basically. There's one that I have that I've actually have the signed IO on it, and it's going. I just haven't billed for it. So
What's an IO?
Insertion order is what it's called. So it's a magazine term. I'm from that era. But
It's not something you need to have somebody sign on a date or something.
no, now I have to start sending invoices. But I had to keep going because I had to send the damn shirts out. The shirts were the shirts could have been the last straw, and they almost, it might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. It could have been, because this guy. So there's this guy, and he was supposed to be in charge of advertising, so he wasn't doing his job in the advertising department. And since he's wasn't also doing very good, the shipping guy went riding, and then the ad guy didn't do his job, and then he started pouring cement or some crap, and then he's complaining about having to do riding schools all the time.
Well, I think you're really liberal about your time off policy, because I know that guy's going skiing tomorrow, right?
I'm leaving. I'm taking a day off.
Yep.
Or 2.
That
or
guy's
whatever.
sitting right next to me.
That guy?
So somebody made a pretty funny comment tonight. They said, if you want to see 2 Aspergers sit and make fun of each other, tune into Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. And I think you're the ass and I'm the burger, but
Okay. That guy actually said that in person to our face.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's our
That's
good,
good. Thanks.
my new good buddy,
Jose.
Hose B.
Yeah, Hose B. Okay, this show would not be possible without the help of all of our sponsors, which currently I'm actually going to keep courting them, because I might send them some invoices here really soon. Yamaha, Taco Moto. By the way, Taco Moto is hiring. If you're looking for a job, I might be looking for a job. I might be down at Taco Moto trying to
It's
sign
a lot easier to make a living doing that than
Probably
being, you
just
know.
sign up. I could probably. I wonder if I could work remote where I don't actually work, where I just pretend like I'm working.
Yeah,
and
there's
I can
plenty
say I
of
work
there's
there.
a whole generation of people trying to do
Doing
that one.
I know. I had some before. Scott Sports Climb. You know why it's so cold in here, Jim?
Because you have your climb shirt.
Because I'm wearing this nice cozy Climb flannel. This
That's
stuff.
a Climb flannel. That's
This-
for,
Yeah, and I said you could get one, and you delayed in getting me back your response. And
I gave you my response. I wanted the $2,400 snowmobile suit. I thought that was casual.
Yeah, Climb.
With boots and helmet. But I'm wearing Climb. We're both wearing Climb hats.
Yeah.
I wore Climb for the
You
last
stole that-
4
you
days
stole that
because
out of my supplies.
no,
for my
Carrie
school.
had this one actually.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Climb
I stole it
DDC
before. I did steal it.
Trail Tech. We had Spencer from Trail Tech. He was so handsome last week that he broke the cameras in Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Fasst Company. I got a notice that something was coming from Fasst Company, and then it said it wasn't coming, which really bummed me out because I'm hoping to get another set of bars here real soon. Bulletproof Designs, and of course Double Take Mirrors. You can click through and support us on our Rocky Mountain ATVMC link and our Amazon link. The easiest way to do that is just go through the website where all the awesome stuff is, and or you can just go to jimmylewisoffroad.com. If you're a female, we have a girls class in March, and then
It's
in
like
April,
March 14th, maybe,
yeah,
something like
and
that.
then in April we have a regular class. If you want to become a better rider, I know how to make that happen. That's I'll have to do those because I've already signed people up. So might just go skiing the rest of my life. You just never know.
Mark Daniels. That's who I met, right?
You met Dave Donnelly.
Dave. Okay.
Dave is
yeah.
in the chat.
Dave.
Kirk from Council, Idaho. He got his 2 T-shirts and stickers today. Hope it wasn't too much a pain in the ass.
It was.
It was a pain in the ass. In fact, I dropped a little note in each one that told them what a pain in the ass it was because I'm just honest. I said I hope they enjoy the shirts as much as it was a pain in my ass to get them to them. And I'm pretty sure it was a net negative. Like it ended up being about a net negative $1.50. Each one of those shirts literally cost me about $26 by the time they were shipped out. I think when I kind of finally did the whole math.
Well, that guy doing the math is just as screwed up as the guy shipping them, so I don't know that I believe that.
Oh, I did the math. That's right. That's why. You
don't want to make money. You're just one giant charitable contribution.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing my restitution for 2 hours every Tuesday night on this show, and I feel like I've done enough. So from Council, Idaho, 2 shirts, good. Last show was only a 0.5. Gronk, I'm gonna get mad at you Canadians again. And then the shirt.
I thought he was an Australian or something.
No, Gronk's Canadian.
What part of Canada?
It's underground. It's all the same. Just dirt. It's just underground. The Australian guy. So there's one Australian guy that got in below the thing. He honestly, he before I realized how much international shipping was, it cost $43 to ship that shirt down there. So I threw a couple in there. I shipped them down
they're
there.
probably going to bang you for some kind of duty too.
No.
Importing costs and taxes.
So anyway, so I sent it. He honestly got the notification because he got an email notification about it, and he's like, "Hey, I want to pay for that shipping. He literally wanted to pay." I told him, "No, don't worry about it."
People want to send you money, but you just throw up the blocks.
I think
the road blocks.
Yeah, I think I should on the bottom instead of having like dirt bike test and all those logos, it should have my PayPal thing. Just
do you know Gronk? He's pretty active in here. Are we sure he's not AI?
No, he's real.
He's a real. Have you met him?
Yeah, he hates betas. No, I haven't met him, and he likes KTM 525s. I think he sent in a Rooster Endo bike too. We've seen his bikes before, but it's like he's. What else are you gonna do in Canada? They get Wi-Fi reception down there, so you can watch this. No beers, a glass of Milagros tequila. So it's good. Looks like you're eating a Dixon, Jimmy. No, this is a Climb flannel.
Eating a Dixon? What is
It's a Dixon is a flannel company. They make flannels.
And you're eating it.
Well, that's what he says. It looks like it because I'm wearing such a nice flannel. But this is a Climb one. I'd rather eat a Climb.
I'm
okay?
a little slow.
You eat your Dixon, and I'll do this wearing. Yes.
Council, Idaho. Got it. Good.
Right.
Wait, you flick that thing too fast.
You just worry about the stuff that you're going to have to read on this. Why don't you read
Tricks
off,
or Roger?
You're hardly going to have to do anything because since I'm not drinking, there's
Just
nothing
keep it moving, Jimmy.
to do.
Keep it moving. I'm here to keep it from going off the rails.
Okay.
What's tricks?
Speak of climb, any recommendations on summer riding gear for ADV style riding in the Southwest? Roth, that's a really good question, actually, because a lot of people instantly want to go vented. They want to go fully vented gear. And Climb makes some stuff that's literally like wearing a mesh net. All the ADV companies have that kind of stuff. But the problem with that is it's going to dehydrate you. It's going to dry you out when you're riding with that stuff. So the good thing about some of the other Climb stuff is they have stuff that has big vents. So the average stuff, like I think my go-to adventure stuff is Latitude. I think
Mine's Badlands for but if I knew I was dry climate down there, I think the pants I always wear, like in the classes here, are Mojave. I think, and they're vented. They're not super huge vented, but they're vented in the thighs or something.
Yeah, and when he says adventure gear, there's a whole nother level. I pretty much wear dirt bike gear the whole time, so I wear the Mojave stuff all the time, and then when it's not super dry and not super hot, at night I'll wear the Mojave stuff, which is the super vented mesh stuff. But Mojave gear for hot weather is what Impaired says. But I don't always go to I like the Dakar before the Mojave for the reason that I just said, that I can control the venting, and if it allows me to sweat a little bit and not completely dry out. So it looks like our buttons are pushed, things are working. Gronk says Ontario. He lives in Ontario.
Ontario.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's a Raddick guy.
Yeah, he knows Raddick. So Connor Steele, Jimmy, are you going to the SoCal rally? Probably not. I'm not going to go to the SoCal rally. And Dave Donnelly, happy to get my Tech Talk Taco Tuesday shirt. You know, with Dave, I just walked it across the street and left it at the winery because I guess he has a drinking problem too because he goes to the winery 2 times a week.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
huh.
yeah. It was easy. I didn't have to ship that one. So he saved me that little bit of price gap there.
So did I. I got 2 shirts and I just
Picked them
stole
up
them
right off the floor. Harlan Miller, good riding around council. That's true. Bill Ono, got my shirts and stickers. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And Mark says the sound is good. Thank you guys for checking in and doing that. What else do we have? We have questions. I was going to go straight to the questions. This could actually be a pretty short show. I didn't prepare much. I was going to talk about this new thing I got. So some of the stuff that we're testing. I tested a KTM 300. Here's the piston right here. See, the camera is even.
Oh, that's
better
my
right now.
piston, right?
No, this is my piston. I did one.
When?
A KTM 300. I ran it out of oil.
The one that I endoed?
Yeah.
That 24.
Maybe that's why it ran out of oil. This is interesting. Oh, now I can blame somebody
See
else
the
besides
blame.
myself.
Yeah, you remember all the oil everywhere, huh? Oh, yeah.
I thought it was all plastic.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, yeah, you smashed the
Let me see
headlight, and the headlights are back order and stuff like that. So here's what happened, and it is on me because so ever since I've had that bike, the oil tank sensor light has been out. I'm going to talk about the 300s. We have a Beta 300, we have a KTM 300 that we're doing long-term testing on. So we're actually taking them and riding them quite a bit, using them for what they're intended for, and getting a feel for these bikes, unlike most of the people just ride them for... You know, I picked up a test bike from another magazine. You guys rode it, the AJP.
Yep. Jim loves it. You couldn't get him off of it.
I know.
I only got to ride it when we dried it at the end of the day.
Hey, that bike was tested at another magazine. You want to guess how much it had on it? In kilometers, because it was in kilometers.
It's got 0.6 kilometers on it.
36 kilometers.
Oh, yeah. That's a good test.
36 kilometers on it.
They rode the hell out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It has over 200 on it now.
That's like 25 miles, right?
Yeah, it'd be more like 20, but yeah. They rode it 20 miles.
Wow.
And
we did 200 yesterday just screwing around
on
our little ride.
And you're going to read. No, actually, because of the speedometer problem on that thing, it's actually inaccurate. So judging by how this speedometer is working and how many kilometers we got on it, because it actually probably only had about 120 kilometers from us, and it's like doubled. If they put 10 miles on that thing, I'd be surprised. Anyways,
That's too bad.
Trust your
But
editorial
they got
sources.
the clicks.
Well, I think, if you push that bike around, you feel how heavy it is, and you kind of like, you look at it, it looks pretty cool. You push it around, like, I don't know about this thing. You ride it, you go putt it a little bit. It's like a big, you're like, I don't want to ride this thing. It's if you're into riding race bikes and stuff like this other thing is. They actually, this particular magazine likes to have somebody take a bike and put all kinds of aftermarket stuff on and then talk about how rad it is.
Okay.
So, normal. But back to the KTM 300. So we're doing a long-term test on it, and so ever since I had the bike, the oil tank light has been intermittent or always on, and I've overfilled oil thing like 6 times now because you can't see the oil in the oil tank. It's oil injected. It's a KTM 300 XCW. There's a tank in the subframe, and you fill it up right by the gas cap. It's right below the steering stem. That's where you pour the oil in. And if you're pouring it in, unless you're pouring it in really slow, it comes up really quick and just overfills. And because the light was on, I was constantly overfilling it to make sure that I didn't run it out. And so we were doing a long ride the other day after you smashed the headlight on it, which means in order to, and that's the only thing you really broke on it. Was
Headlight mask.
Just the headlight mask. So in order to do that, George, you had to get that bike upside down. And that oil in that tank because that cap is actually a little bit vented. That's how the oil can drain down inside there. How long was that thing upside down for?
Not very long, because when it went on its nose like that and on my back with the seat. See, I went off that so perfectly straight.
Uh-huh.
That's why only the headlight mask hit, because the front wheel was, perpendicular to the ground.
Right.
So it went over, hit my back, and then it fell on its side.
Okay.
And it shoved my pistol into my thigh, and I still have a bruise here that I should show you.
All right. No, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Remember, you're the burger and I'm the ass.
And then I rode it how long after that?
Like with the
Didn't
oil,
seize up.
so the oil all spilled out. No,
But
it
whatever.
didn't
So
happen.
now is my refurbished
So
cylinder
I'm pretty
on
sure
this bike?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They're totally different cylinders. That motor is quite a bit new, and this is the reason I wanted it. After I got the bike from KTM, and they know like, he's going to keep her for a while. I said, hey, can you send me a top end kit? Some of the stuff was back ordered, so it took a little while, and I need the oil pump, and I need the oil sensor light, and a couple other little parts. And then after you wrote it, I called him and said, hey, can I get a headlight mask?
Right.
And then
I feel pretty good about busting the headlight mask since you seized the thing.
so then we went on a long ride, and since I had, you guys have probably took it and you put maybe a tank of gas through it at most, right?
Not even that.
Right. So I had just filled it up, so I'm like, no problem. And we went out and we did one of our big tank rides, but we carried gas. And so lo and behold, on the way back, we're riding down a road going about 50, 60 miles an hour. We were kind of mostly done with the ride, and we were really low on gas. I mean, we were eking it in. In fact, both of the 2-strokes, that and the Beta, ran out of gas on the way back in. So we're coming down we're just kind of going down this road, just, half throttle or something like that. I'm just riding along, and it started tying up. It went like that, and I'm like, oh, it's running. I figured it was getting lean and running out of gas kind of thing, and then I was like, no, it's more. Pulled the clutch in right away. It just went, stopped. Coasted to a stop, and I'm like, it ran out of gas, got lean, and seized. And there's no way it ran out of oil, because I know that my 300 takes like 6.
Running out of gas, it seized?
Well, I've had bikes that have seized while they run out of gas because they get really lean. Carbureted bikes. I haven't done it in a fuel injected bike, so I figured.
Well, with these new bikes, shouldn't it still be pumping oil in there? Because it's not oil, or is the gas and the oil
if there's
mixed
oil
somewhere?
in the tank, the oil is independent.
But the oil, I thought we covered that.
Yeah,
it was full of oil.
Yeah, it would still be pumping oil in there, but it would get extremely lean if it ran out of gas, and it could potentially seize. I don't know if it would be as drastic as a carburetor, But anyways, that's what I thought. I figured since I knew we were really low on gas, I figured it ran out of gas. I'm like, you dumbass, you should have been going down the road that fast or whatever. And then I look in the tank and there's gas. And those things are known to run out before they completely run out of gas. The fuel pump is a little bit high, and so I'm like, maybe it did that. But I'm looking and the fuel pump's under, and I can tap the starter, and it's turning over, but pretty freely. And I'm tapping the starter and looking at it. Of course, the oil light's on. It's been on the whole day. It's been on since.
So what happened? Let me keep you on the rails here so we can move this story along and talk about
ran out
the
of oil.
next bike you screwed up.
Yeah, it ran out of oil.
How'd it run out of oil? From when to when?
Because there was no oil in the tank.
Well, when I got on it that day,
We put oil in it.
we were talking about that, and you said something about it being full, but I had poured probably 6 ounces of oil in there because I knew that would be more
Did
than
you
what I would
overfill it
use.
too?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
and then you walked up and you said, "No, it doesn't need oil." And I'd already just, did the old Jimmy premix, but probably like 6 ounces because I go, it's not going to use 6 ounces in our little ride.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know what the oil thing was, unless the tank broke, but there's no
so
signs of it
like I
leaking.
said, it was full. But anyway, so that light didn't work, and so because the light didn't work, I figured,
Yeah.
and it's a lot smaller than my 300, and so we probably put 4 tanks of gas through it in that day.
And I'll give you this: you got people riding bikes and stuff, so it's not like
Right.
it's your bike, and oh, gee, I've gone on 5 tanks of gas and I haven't put oil in it.
Right. So yeah, we went through 5 tanks of gas, and sure enough, it ran out of oil, and it did a little 4-corner seizure. Thank God I felt it, and I didn't just keep on the.
So I don't know why, but I was thinking this because I think I got on that bike to run it up the road and dry it off, and I was thinking, you know what? I could come in past Jimmy, and I could just start to drag the back brake, in gear, and I could act, and then just go, and then shut it off, and Jimmy would go, he sees that bike up,
Yeah. So I spent a lot of
'Cause
time.
that's what I do.
So
I
I pulled
torment
it apart. It left a little bit of aluminum on the cylinder. I was able to sand it. I thought I was going to have to ask them for a cylinder, and they're back ordered as well. But I was able to sand it all out. There's one little minor scratch in there, probably from like where it got. You can see here where it kind of compressed the ring, but it's minor. I would go.
Yeah, that's nothing like mine. I
would-
did mine right.
Yeah, you got yours the whole. You got it all the way around. This is just the corners. So yeah, I was able to put it back together and thing's fine. Works fine. I wanted it. I was planning on doing a top end because I wanted to see what it looked like at 50 hours, 45, 50 hours, whatever it was. I just want to see what the piston looked like. I want to see how easy it is to do, which is some stuff's really easy, some stuff's a little bit more difficult. In fact, the hardest thing to do on that motorcycle and changing the top end was disconnect the fuel line. Just where it is.
Is it a different one or it's just
No,
hard?
just the location, just where it is, where my fingers were. It was like literally that was the hardest thing. The power valve, there's a really simple reset thing. You plug the priming tool in there and you hold the throttle halfway open and it goes like it resets the power valve. And I checked the power valve to make sure it was all free and moving. And
Scroll
took the
up a
servo.
little so we can see if anybody's commenting on this thing.
We'll check on that.
Okay.
So anyways, so yeah, I put it back together, and so everybody's, you're just bashing. But what I found out, and this is the biggest thing, is that these pistons are definitely not made of clay. Remember?
How do you know?
Well, I bit it. I chewed on it a little bit, but it's not.
Yeah,
made
but if it's compressed enough, it might turn to aluminum.
Yeah, because I read on the internet that they're made of clay. It's not made of clay, and to be able to seize a bike and put it back together with just a piston is pretty good. There's some stuff that KTM is doing really good. I mean, just the packaging and how everything's shrinking and stuff like that. But don't think that that headlight shell was a little brittle. Actually, the handguards. Oh, you did a number on the handguards. I had to replace the handguards with some nice
You
Atrubi.
blame me for whatever. You're blaming me for the pipe, but that was there when I left.
Yeah, dented pipe. Both bikes came back with dented pipes. Both 2-strokes came back with dented pipes. And but look, I'm learning about this bike, and then so they're like, what about you think the Beta's the best thing ever? Well, guess what? Our Beta had some problems too. So our Beta, someone went to adjust the spring preload, and they unscrewed the shock body from itself.
Well, that's not good. You gonna blame us on that?
No, that was somebody else did it.
Oh.
Somebody else back in California did this. And then there's a couple.
When we
other
take these bikes
little
out, we're
things.
gonna have to do like a rental car. Go around it with a video, all 4 sides of the freaking thing.
Someone did that in the Somebody did that in the school this weekend. She was
Good.
concerned about
Yeah,
it.
she must know you. Mr. Blamatron.
Yeah. Ron Wilder got his shirts. Thanks, Ron. Ron was the big shirt order. He got the Ricky Brabeck signed shirt. He won it on the last show, even though
Was he
was so-
was he in the thing? Did he show up in the chat, or did you just break down and give it to him?
No, I just decided that the person. I said if he was gonna be in the show and watching the show, which he is now, he's making up for it. He would win it, but he ordered the most shirts. He ordered 7 shirts, so I just threw an 8th one in there, and he's all good. But it has Ricky Brabeck's signature on it, which, whatever that's worth. I got a truck full of monsters today, via Ricky Brabeck.
Yep.
Steven Stanton says, Jimmy, can you buy a new bike, not a new George? You can buy a new bike, not
Yeah,
a new
see,
George.
he's saying that I'm precious enough. I can't be replaced. Thank you. Who is it?
There's
Get
a line.
Get
There's
his
little-
info, because he might be one of my 6 followers.
At my gate right now, there's probably a line of Georges that want to come in here and be, hang out with me. Like that guy this morning that I was going to use a word that I'm going to refrain from using as far as he bought a bike for me and then he didn't want the bike.
Yeah, well, it happens. People change their mind.
Yeah.
So
I have
anyway,
his money, except it's all gone. Because my finance guy,
you had it.
my finance guy was supposed to be working on this T-shirt project, and he screwed up so bad that he was kind of going underneath. And then he put all the money that he sold the bike to into this building that's over there. It's laying on the ground. And that construction manager guy got all sidetracked working on somebody else's property.
You're just taking what you're doing. So with this recent thing with Trump, where he's got to sell his real estate assets, you're just in a position where you're taking advantage of that situation and you're reinvesting in real estate, correct? Your money's going into real estate, your cash.
Yeah, I'm
that's
definitely,
all it is.
I'm definitely stating that it's definitely overvalued, and I'm thinking about starting up a shoe company, a sneaker company, I guess it's called. Because if Trump's doing it, there's big money in it, so I want to do that.
Get a piece of it.
Got to get into it. George is a national treasure. That's what Taco Moto Co. says on their company account.
Yeah, I just talked to. Give him another shameless plug.
Why
Go
don't
to
you
work
hire
for
him? TacoMoto.co is hiring, and if you can beat George down there tomorrow, because George is in the line.
You're close enough. You should spell my name right, though. But anyway, you're hiring, unlike Jimmy Lewis, who is just accepting all volunteers. But no, I text Mike today asking him about those little turn signals with a spring on them, and he says they're going to be available. They quit making them. Somebody bought the company. It's sold.
Okay.
He's going to have them. So
Okay, yeah, he has lots of that stuff. Because I know somebody around here put a hopped up pipe on their bike, and it just melted their little turn signal off.
well, he did, and I'm probably going to get a pipe like that.
Just like your little pistol. I bet George's pistol is tiny, says Troy Hicks.
Well, yeah. What am I going to carry on the trail?
You can dream. You can dream, Troy. Okay. So stick with the... Ron Hartle says, stick with the SGLHIRTS.
T-shirts is what he's trying to say, I think. But
Is he drinking?
there's no money in T-shirts. If you're doing it right, you never touch that stuff. They click, and the manufacturer, point of manufacturer, sends it out.
And Mike Pearson, who won last week's Roosterendo, which if we got a few more entries, we could have done a Roosterendo.
Nobody knows who won because that cut off on
I know.
the
I
feed.
heard it got cut off last week. There's a question about that or a comment on it. He doesn't realize that he won with a quad. But the feed didn't get cut off. There's a podcast version of the show, and you can listen to the whole show where we do a really good job of describing.
And
how
lose
things
another,
happen.
30 minutes of my life gone. I listen to these shows when I'm traveling, usually.
I try to forget them. That's why I record them so I can.
You know
so
what I
there's
like
evidence.
about this is honest. The other day I was going, what do I like about being on Tech Talk? It's the only time you and I can sit down like this and talk, because usually your head's down, you're grumpy, and you're doing this, and I'm trying to help, but it's not helping. So I just go away when we're around here in the compound. But we can sit here and
You don't like riding with me, okay? So
no,
you
no,
don't-
that's
you don't-
psycho.
you don't- yeah, you
that's
don't-
just stupid. Don't
Yeah,
do
you don't
it.
like
That's
riding
crazy
with me.
talk.
you like to, well, both you and Jim like to come around and tell me how to do my job. You like it's
No, I think
you
we're
call-
more life coaches,
Life-
spiritual advisors.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you hold this up and show where it was?
Yeah, that was off on the floor of my car for a week or
Champion of champions. Just
But
let
yeah.
everybody know what I am.
something. Can you zoom in on that?
I will zoom in on that there in the guest camera.
Look at that.
Just want everybody to know that I am legitimate.
Yeah, Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. He was on the inside. You'll also notice back here, when I was racing Jimmy, I received the Racer of the Night first place trophy, along with my gold medal that dwarfs these. What are those things? ISD didn't finish or something?
Yeah, ISD. I finished every one of them. Yeah. No drinking tonight, just tiny phone and big finger, says Ron. So, okay. And forgive the spelling, George, says Takamoto. I'm just starstruck being a messenger on Jail's show.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
yeah, go to takomoto.co. I'm pretty sure they have their job listing up there, or to go to their Facebook page, takomoto. Just Takamoto on Facebook. And
What kind of stuff are they hiring for, Mike? Post it up there. We don't have to talk about it.
I saw the picture, and it looked like you have to be able to rewire an airplane, like inside of a commercial jetliner. That's what he's looking.
Well, those
for.
are okay if you got it all sketched out on a board. You just string wires across it and solder and crimp. You still got to get that connector thing together, Mike.
Yeah, the
And
connector.
badge it as George, not Jimmy Lewis. You probably sell more of them.
Okay, let's go right into our questions, George. Let's
So
get
you
there.
put this page on.
These questions are brought to you by Bulletproof Designs right now, because Bulletproof Designs makes these nice little doohickeys that will protect your chain guide from getting ripped off. This one's for a beta, and I need to put it on my beta so I don't rip my chain guide off.
And who was it that told me to put radiator protectors on radiators before you bend them? And what happened this weekend?
My wife. Yeah, she
Got a tip over on, what was that, a TTR 230 or WR?
WR250F. Yeah, she hit a rock and coming
just
down a
fell
steep
down.
hill. Yeah, and kind of went into an embankment, and then she said, "I think I did a boo boo." And the good thing was the radiator just pushed right back. It was the hose coming out of it, where the hose attached, that took the damage. And so if it hadn't flexed so far back and hit the header, could have been.
I got some
would've
tech
been less.
talk we can talk about later if we got time.
Okay.
So you're talking about testing. You're testing three. You want to talk about that really quick?
So yeah, we're testing the 300s, putting some time on them, seizing them up, breaking shock bodies, running them through tires, doing all the things, so we can give you the info and know a lot more about those bikes. Actually, I've got this new little thing. I'm going to try it on the KTM 300s. The Nihilo Concepts makes this little. It's called a nano tuner. And I'm going to hold it up on your screen.
I
here.
saw that little button.
It's this Nihil. It's a diagnostic tool, more than anything else. So it's this little tiny square. You can just mount it onto your bars, and it'll set. You can use it to send maps to your ECU. So
It's just got one button.
I just got it. Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot itself. It's just the communication device that goes between there. So I'm gonna learn about this. This is my new product of the week.
What do they call that TV cable?
HDMI.
Yeah, it's an HDMI
Yeah, it has
cable.
HDMI that goes. It plugs into the diagnostic cable, and so it can actually talk to the ECU. And the thing about it is, it'll be run through an app, and so through the app, you'll be able to do other things. I want to tune the power valve on that thing.
So I see a power indicator or volume indicator type of thing, and a Bluetooth indicator. So I assume it Bluetooths to your phone from
Bluetooths
this.
your phone, and it'll download information, or you can have a map and you can send it. And so this is something I'm testing. I'm going to learn a lot about what it does.
What's the air moose here thing on your list?
So we're testing. We're always testing stuff, but one of the things we're testing is an Air Moose, which is another moose brand. Actually, the guy from Mr. Wolf reached back out to me and wanted to send those out as well. But so I got my kind of initial impressions of the Air Moose, because I had it on my bike when I rode it down in Mexico, and I've just been on my 500, been on my 300. Now next time I go back down there, I'm going to take it down there and give it the beans and see what it is. So that's another thing that we're currently testing.
It's his first ride on the 24 KX250. Is that something at
That
Dirt Bike
is,
Test?
yeah, on Dirt Bike Test, there's a new KX250 2024 impression up there from Trevor. And Scott just got back from riding the Yamaha YZ125X and YZ450 FX from back east. And he just got back. I don't know if there's an embargo on that. I was thinking about calling, but we'll see. And Kurt Huff, who I believe, yeah, that's Kurt Huff, says every C-Class rider needs that. And I'm not sure what we're talking about. Maybe the thing that I was, maybe the little thing that the tuner I was holding up.
What else were we talking about?
Or maybe this piece, the Bulletproof Designs thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So at Slagle Toby,
Right.
I wonder what would happen if Kawasaki released a 2025 KDX 300 Enduro 2-stroke sold with KYB suspension and a title. I think they would give KTM and Husky a run for their money.
So this is on our KX450 video. This is a comment, and I commented back. I said, "We can all dream."
Okay.
I'm impressed that he wanted a title with his motorcycle.
What's that?
That's important.
Does he mean, what's he talking about? Registration?
I suspect he's thinking he wants to make it street legal.
Yeah.
Right, a title. Well, it kind of depends on what state you're in and all this stuff like that. But it's nice. I mean, there's a reason why they don't sell a KDX 300 2-stroke with Kayaba suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't make any money. You know, there's already really good bikes. Like, speaking of, you know, Yamaha makes a YZ250 that has Kayaba suspension on it. And if you spray painted it green, and then you wouldn't even have to pretend that it's a 300. You would think it's a 300 because it's so good.
I rode a Yamaha all weekend, I think.
Yamaha, great sponsor of this show.
What was that bike?
What were you riding?
Needs some front brake fluid change or something.
Oh, that was a WR2 older
one.
carbureted WR250. Yes,
Ran fine.
runs good.
So at Irway4449 about the TTR 230, he writes, entry level, the corporate buzzword. It's supposed to demean you into buying something far more than what you need. All over in this narrative. First, it's a stepping stone, and you'll need something more later, which is what a full-out competition dirt bike. This is a trail bike used to ride trails. Well, you know the rest. Okay. What did you guys refer to it as a starter bike or something?
Yeah, it's the somebody was riding that thing this weekend in the class.
Yep.
And I thought it was a great training bike. It is a trail bike, yeah. But what is he trying to say? Like in that,
He's trying to say that you're addressing it as a beginner or something like that, so people will go out and buy a more horse-powered Yamaha.
oh, so he's
More
saying,
expensive,
he's saying
I think.
I'm a shill for my advertisers.
Well, yeah.
I've been tagged.
Yeah, okay. Who knows?
Yeah, and I don't think entry level is a buzzword. I don't know that. I mean, the industry right now really wants to keep people coming in. COVID was great. A lot of people got in, and then they went right back to staring at their screens, which you're doing right now, or you're listening to a thing that has a screen spit this out right now. But it's an entry level bike. It's a beginner bike. It's a trail bike. It's an old guy bike. You should ride it, George. That way you can go over the handlebars.
Yeah, I talked to you about that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said in the summer
you
I
wanted to
might just
borrow
take
one.
one of those for 3 months just to,
to go
play
practice.
around on it. Practice bike, whatever. I mean, we had a new rider that went out looking for and should have been put on a bike like just this bike, a TTR 230, but he got sold a bill of goods and ended up with a race bike. And
his dealer told him it was an everything bike.
that's no bueno. So yeah, with people like Jimmy saying this is an entry level bike, somebody listens to that, they might end up in the right spot.
I'm trying to be accurate. I'm trying to accurately describe it for someone who may or may not know, exactly what they're looking at. And obviously that one guy for sure didn't. In fact, he asked the question. We had his question on the last show. He asked the question. I kind of went through and explained the different things, and I'm fairly confident that I recommended maybe not that bike in that situation.
Yeah,
But-
he was pretty adamant that the dealer guy sold him a bill of goods, which I'm sure that never happened before.
That's what dealers do.
So Mike Lunini, 3580 on the CRF 250F, says, like, why is Honda moving to trail rather than race? Because there's a market for that? What?
Well, because they don't want to use the corporate buzzwords of entry level.
There you go.
No, Honda's not moving. Honda's made, since day one, they've always had an entry level group of bikes. They've had, in between bikes, like the XRs were always like, they always kind of said an XR you could race an XR 200 or an XR 500. Hell, they were racing XRs in Baja. And then they had the CRs, which are their motocross bikes. They've always had a full line. Most manufacturers do. They want you to be able to walk into a dealership. The Japanese motorcycle manufacturers specifically, and now KTM and their brands and stuff. And if you look at what Triumph and Ducati are doing, and what a lot of these brands are doing, they want you to be able to walk in there and they have something to sell you. If you walk into a dealership,
They want you to walk in and ride out.
Walk in and ride out. Yeah, they want to have
Nothing
something
wrong
that's going
with
to
that.
fit your needs. And whether you're a little kid and you're getting something that's just brand new and electric, or you're somebody that wants to ride your first dirt bike, and it's happens to be a 1300 cc dirt bike, or well they call them adventure bikes, I guess. They call them that, yeah. But it's a dirt bike to some people because there's no way they're going to
110 horsepower dirt bike.
They're not going to ride a 500. Like, why would you ever ride one of those things?
At Eric Nash, 8783, says, just use the lube that is already inside your O-ring chain. I don't know what, there's no context. Were you talking about?
We were talking about, how to lube a chain on one of the shows, and I think it got pulled into like a little excerpt.
Oh,
and
here we
stuff.
go. Sorry.
It's like there's another comment part to that,
Yeah.
but like, just use it. You're already using it. You can't just use it. It's already there.
Yeah, so his second part of his, I just wipe a WD-40 wetted rag for rust protection, but usually I'm just raw dogging it dry. Jim, you don't lube chains, do you? Yeah.
I put when they're warm, I'll throw a little bit of lube on them, just because it's more of an anti-corrosive thing than anything else. So that guy that's telling us how to lube chains and do raw dog, he follows all the girl riders.
Oh, yeah, because you do your research. You kind of creep back and stalk these people a little just to see what they're about.
I always want to know where the question's coming from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whatever.
I wonder if he tells those girls how to do things.
I saw it.
Because I watch them and they need a lot of help, some of them.
There was
some
like
of the ones he follows.
a new motorcycle riding.
I don't really watch them that much, but I have to see what they say.
There's like a new motorcycle riders website. I thought, well, I'll just see what this is. It's just maddening. I'm going to get it out of my feed, but it's like the dating site. All these girls on there posing with their bike and, hey, I want to know. And you can see all the creeps on there that are going, oh, hey, and great bike and this and that. And it's just a bunch of crap.
Sometimes I really want to help. Like when I actually take the time to answer some of the questions and stuff that I do online. But that's what I'm doing here. But here it's harder. It's harder. I mean, except for you, it's harder for everybody else to interrupt me. I have a.
It's easy for me.
I know. That's why I said.
So
except
Eric
for you,
Nash,
I have an unvetted stream that can't be distracted. I get to put out my 100% pure Jimmy comment. Everything I dance around the answers to the questions. But you're getting what you're getting.
I just hear what Snoopy hears from you.
That's Snoopy doesn't hear that. That's the kids in the classroom.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
So Eric Nash 8783 that we just heard from about raw dogging it dry. He says, I'm not scratching my rim at all here with a happy face. So I think he's having a whole other conversation here about dogging it dry and scratching his rim.
He actually started watching a lot of our videos and then he made a lot of comments on them. But
I think he's AI.
Well, he's talking. No, he's not AI. He's got a page, and he follows all the girls that do all the different riding things.
Okay.
It's those main is across his feeds as he follows kind of a thing.
At NorCal Saint, I sold my Africa Twin.
What did he say about scratching the rims?
He says he's not scratching his rim at all.
Oh, he
here.
watched me change a tire in one of my videos where I change a moose. Just.
Oh, I thought this was in reference to Selma picture or something. Scratching her rim.
That's why I made that sticker for you, George.
Yep.
Yeah.
So NorCal Saint.
Selma was on the show last week. She showed her rim.
Yeah. I sold my Africa Twin because of the wind buffeting at higher speeds. Wonder if the Transalp is any better. Now, selling a bike because of wind buffeting, I kind of take issue to that. My 790.
At all 5 how many's? 6? 5, 6, George?
Who? 6'3".
Yeah, I know. What are you?
Like 5, 7, 8, something like that.
And throw in a 3/4. I always like it when you
But
say 5,
I got real short legs, so I probably sit at as high as this guy or more.
Oh,
because my torso's really
big
isn't that
torso
true?
Guy, yeah, big torso guy. Hey, so here,
It's long. It's big too.
At 6'4", you're gonna get buffeted on pretty much every bike. I'm 5'9" and 3/4. Okay, used to be 5'10". But I'm like right at the height where I think they designed him for someone my height. And if I sit upright, I get buffeted. If I slouch a little bit, I'm in the pocket. And so at 6'4", it's funny because sometimes when you're 6'4", you get above it and it's not that bad. But sometimes you're right where you just get blasted from it.
Well, my 790 is like this. It shakes with I got the tall windshield and I got the short windshield. The one that came with it is really short on the Adventure. And that thing buffets my helmet so hard that my vision's blurred.
Right.
And so I ended up getting a much taller windscreen than what I wanted or want. And I got rid of the buffeting for long slogs. And when I'm standing up, I'm way over the top of everything.
You'd have to
anyway.
go back and read or watch one of our videos that talks about the Africa Twin for me to really recall. I don't recall it being that good, but I don't recall it being that bad. But I tell you what, that Transalp 750, that is one thing I really, really notice on that bike is the pocket that it puts me into at 5'9" and 3/4 is really good. It's got really good. Of all of the small adventure bikes, or called mid-size adventure bikes, it does have the best. We'll call it wind protection package. Except it doesn't have handguards, and I found that out the other day when I rode it back after I sunk it in the mud. And my fingers were all cold because they were wet, and I got really cold. My legs were okay, but my fingers were really cold.
Did you have a moment where you just sat down and cried before you called Jimmy Tyler and they came and rescued you?
It's got heated grips.
Nope.
It takes a lot.
Oh, the heat? No, not the if it had a handguard, it would have been okay. But and I was wearing really good climb gloves with wind stopper, and I had a second pair that I put on that I got wet too.
So the heat wasn't even good enough.
Oh, the heat was good enough to almost burn my hands
on the inside.
On the inside, but on the outside, it wasn't doing its job. Just having a handguard would make a huge difference. But yeah, like so Ron here is saying at 6'4", it works better for me to shorten the windshield because if you get one tall enough for my height, all it does is creates too much negative pressure behind the screen. So yeah, it's
just variable. It just all depends.
It's a full tuning thing, and if you sold a bike because of you could have played around.
Yeah,
with a
you
couple
gave up
windscreens.
too soon. If you like the rest of the bike, I'd say that was a bad move.
And here's okay. So this is why people listen to the show, because every once in a while I do actually give out some decent advice. You can actually take some cardboard and some pieces of tape and play around with this. I used to do this when we were at Cycle World all the time because guys would complain about like buffeting on certain bikes, and they were taller than me, and it was generally an adventure bike that we were testing, and everybody wanted to ride the adventure bikes because they were kind of new and hot at the time, like the KTM 950. And we had this one staffer who would just go get the tallest screen and bolt it onto the damn bike, and it takes like 45 minutes to put them on. It was like a pain in the ass. And he'd go out and he'd say, "I'm gonna ride this thing," and he put these big giant windscreens on. And I'm like, oh my God, and you can't see out. I can't see through it, and it's so big it slows the bike down by like 10 miles an hour. I mean, It's really bad. And plus it makes, like Ron's talking about, this big chamber of weird air pressure. So I would actually started taping I tried to prove to him, hey, you don't need 4 more inches of windscreen and 3 inches wider. You can just like go 1.5 inches or 2 inches here and just kick it a little bit, and then tell, you know, because we're the world's largest motorcycle magazine, talk to this company and say, hey, do this. And so I actually taped a couple of these things up and came up with, you know, and he was like, wow, that really works, you know, because
That's what I've been trying to do with the harmonica I put on your Tenere to get more wind through it.
But
I put cardboard in there to try and channel more wind on it.
But since I actually pay attention to my motorcycle and I check them, I cut that thing off before I even rode it. So
no, you didn't. It's still there.
It's not still there.
It's still there.
It is not still there.
As of when?
I don't know. Would you put it back on?
No.
Yeah, I cut it off. I saw it. I went because I was testing suspension.
I thought if anything will drive, you hold that out the window and it makes noise in a car, like 30. I said, if anything will drive Jimmy nuts, it's some new whistle on his bike.
No, I'd find it immediately.
But I figured you'd see it.
I found it before I even rode it.
Okay, AC
Taped the
Multi
harmonica on my bike.
100 says, where can I buy this bike and how much? What's he referring to, Jimmy? Because you never give me no damn context.
Gronk's mean. He says, if you can't handle buffeting, maybe bikes aren't for you.
You know, I used to think that. I used to really think that. I was the first guy to say, you know, what you need is to look into some triactin. You know, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, look into it. And that's triactin like a man. But Gronk, I got to tell you, like I said, on my 790, in those 2 combinations of the short and the factory tall windshield, that I literally, my vision was blurred. You could not see because my head's shaking so much around. So
it's a.
I hear you, but
yeah, I think it and they can't again. It's just like suspension. Everybody says, "Oh, the suspension sucks on the stock bikes." It's like, yeah, every fairing sucks, but that Honda Transalp 750, the one he's specifically talking about, for my size, is one of the best aero packages cockpits that I've ridden in a long time.
So. Where can I buy this bike and how much? That's where we were. What was he talking about? What bike?
He's talking about the all-wheel drive Christini KTM. The video that Jim shot. You know that video that got like 5 million views now? Yeah. The video that Jim shot of me riding the all-wheel drive KTM.
If that was your ticket to freedom and riding all the time, you should have monetized that one.
It is monetized.
It is.
Yeah, you don't get money. I mean,
you don't get nothing.
You don't get.
Okay, Delano 7242. Just get a Rokon 2x2, which been around since the 50s. The Rokons or more tractors are cheaper, lighter, 100 miles a gallon, can float, use multiple fuels from kerosene, gasoline, ammonia. Rokon are the only bike to ever make it through the Darien Gap. I have a military type separate. New sense. I have a military type $3,500 2019 Kawasaki KLX 250 and a $4,000 2006 Rokon. The Rokon will go anywhere but slowly at 35. I'd say 35 is a stretch on those Rokons. I've been on those things and they'll sort of go anywhere, but
it goes 35 when you throw it off a cliff, which is what you want to do after you ride them with the when you put all that gas or whatever you want to put in your tires, you know, because the tires are tanks. I've ridden a Rokon. I want a 110 horsepower adventure bike with all-wheel drive. I don't want a Rokon.
Yeah, I've ridden.
If I want a farm vehicle, I'll get a quad. Okay?
I've ridden a Rokon too, and you know, reminded me of my mini bike days.
I wonder if he's trying to point out something, like he thinks that there's something I don't know about motorcycles.
Could be. I'm comparing them. Something you haven't ridden.
Something I haven't ridden.
Stephen Charles GCS, best handlebar. What if you're 6'4" and stand up a lot?
Well, Johnny Campbell's like 6'3", and he stands up a lot.
Big John.
And that's the Johnny Campbell.
And Big John is big.
Big John's big too. And so we are talking on the show that Johnny Campbell's giving the advice and explaining about handlebars. And he's like, what if you're 6'4" and stand up a lot? Well, the guy who was giving you the advice was 6'3" and standing up a lot. So he listened to him. That's why we have experts on here, because you don't want to listen to my bullshit all day.
At 64 max power. Lots of dog videos.
Yeah, he has lots of dog videos on his thing.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of dog videos on his YouTube channel.
So we don't understand the difference between forged and cast triples, and I'm expected to believe that you could tell a difference between clamps when riding. I guarantee no one can tell a difference. He's calling you out, basically, right?
I wish I would have watched some of his dog videos, because I'm sure one of them he has a video where he can tell you that he doesn't even have to look at his dog. He can smell the differences between him.
Oh, I'm sure he probably can.
Yeah, and I'm going to call bullshit on that, because really, you can tell the difference between your dog.
Yeah, he doesn't wash one, and the other one washes itself.
I'm a professional. Like, I can tell these things. Like, really, you can't tell the difference. You know what? I think most people actually can tell a difference. They won't know what it is, but if you switch triple clamps, it changes the way the bike works. And whether you can feel it and identify that was the change, that's a reach.
Well,
for most people. But there are guys that get paid pretty good money to ride motorcycles that will give you feedback on this. And there's a reason why there's guys that still get paid money to ride motorcycles and tell them how to work, because it isn't always what the computer says. When they design these things, they say, hey, this is going to be stiffer, this is going to be... They just change small little radiuses on clamps, or you change the torque value on the pinch bolts on that clamp by 3 or 4 Newton meters, and most people will notice something.
Right, they won't be able to call it out. Like, you had me switch a pretty rigid skid plate once to a more flexible one, and you said, well, did you notice it or something? And I was truly like, I don't know, but I sure felt good on the bike. You know what I mean?
And a lot of times, when I say they notice it, it's like the bike works better. This bike is all of a sudden working better, or this bike is working.
Yeah,
worse.
but I'm lousy enough. It's like, okay, am I just having a better day at this moment? But
Right.
probably, that's what I was feeling, and I'm not a real good butt dyno. Good afternoon, all. Please look at this photo. This is a borrowed photo. Do you have it there? What are the red rings on the lower section of the fork tubes? My 23 EXCF. Oh, those are those O-rings they put on there. I thought they were fork seals. I guess no. Yeah, it's
on
just
the newer KTM. So this is on the EXC group, and he basically had a picture with the basically those red rings are so you can slide them up on the forks and you can see how far down your forks are going.
Yeah,
so it's a tuning thing. It's a tuning thing. And so a lot of times it's to see if you're using the whole stroke. That's what they're mostly used for. But there's times when we'll go through just a small series of bumps that you don't want the thing to be going too far down in the stroke, and you just slide them up and ride it, and you kind of see where they go. And that's what they're designed for. And I've seen guys that have like overfilled their oil, and then they're not going all the way down like they should. And I don't know on those forks if they go completely to the bottom or they just go most of the way down. Then in the picture he showed them about 1.5 inches up, which is like, wow, that's, you're not using all of your stroke, but it depends on what he hit before he did that, or however they move in. Jason Abbott liked your try acting like a man joke.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good one. You use that.
Learned that from some Amish buddies up north.
Let's see.
I wanted to use it this weekend in the class.
Marco's got a thing. He says, let your wife ride you on the back, and then the wind will be blocked perfectly, and it'll be fun too. Yep.
There you go. Carry a bigger purse and hold it up against your fronty or something. I don't know.
Ron wants to know, would you be comfortable riding your T7 on a BDR with a front moose?
It's tubeless,
Nope.
isn't it?
Nope.
Those tubeless tires?
No, they have
Just
tubes.
tubes.
Would I be comfortable? Yeah, probably not. I mean,
Is that a tall ask for a moose on a heavy bike like that?
well, the thing is, if I was changing it every day, getting a new wheel every day, every 2 days, every 3 days, every 4 days, okay, I might. 4 days would probably be where I would draw the line, especially with the big tank, when you're heavy, and then it just kind of depends on how much speed you're getting, and not that the speed really kills them or anything like that, but how hot is it? How hard are you riding it? There's lots of questions. There's a lot of variables that go into that, but I don't really want to change my moose as much as I feel like I would need to be really safe. Because it really, well, in BDR you kind of know where you're going, but when I go adventure riding, I don't know where I'm going. I really don't know where I'm going, and that might involve a 90-mile-an-hour stint down some big ass graded dirt road for 45 minutes, and I don't want to sit there and go, well, I could go 20 miles an hour slower to preserve this moose, which, yeah, I would ride at 70 miles an hour, no problem. 90, you're asking a lot. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't be comfortable.
How would you compare this? This is a TTR 230. How would you compare this to a Beta 300X Trada for trail play bike?
So we kind of did that. I think we did a comparison someplace on Dirt Bike Test, or there's a video someplace where we compared them all, but we did not compare the Yamaha, the TTR 230, because we didn't have it. But it's very similar to the other ones. I think it kind of it fits right in between the Honda and the Kawasaki as far as where the Yamaha fits in that mix of play bikes. But the Beta has way, way, way more potential as far as it's a 300cc two-stroke motor.
Quite a bit lighter, I would imagine.
Quite a bit lighter, which in the beginner realm, the entry-level realm, in corporate speak, in that world, the weight is actually, for most people, a good thing until they have to pick it up. The weight adds stability. Speaking of the AJP.
Right. The X Trainer might feel a little twitchy to somebody new.
For our beginner riders, the power was a little bit too snappy, even though it's really tamed down. Just we see this all the time in our classes. We see beginner riders struggle with that kind of on-off throttle, and it's from zero to whatever, how far they turn it, and then back again is a lot. The Beta, when it comes on, it lunges, it has a response. Since it's a two-stroke, it freewheels a little better on the D-cell, so it's a little easier. Where I think that you're going to find the four-stroke motors offer a little bit more entry-level, beginner-level performance. The weight of the bike adds a little bit of stability. I think the suspension on the Beta, maybe a little bit better performance, although not much. It really depends on what you're using it for. But I think the Beta has more room to grow. You'll struggle with it in the beginning, but it'll be a better bike a little bit later on in your riding career. But it sort of depends on where you want to go with that.
Alan had a 300.
Alan had a question?
You had the X Trainer 300, right? And I got my KTM.
And also had the Yamaha 230.
Yeah.
Back in the past. And yeah, the Beta has much more potential.
Yeah.
Right. Did I just answer that question properly as an owner of both of those bikes?
I would agree 100%.
Yeah. Wow, good. Somebody agrees with me finally.
The
Thank
Peanut
you.
Gallery. Yeah. Good job, Jim.
Hey, everybody that's in the chat, where's everybody from? That's I'm always kind of checking to see where everybody's checking in from. I know Gronk's from Canada. Yeah.
Canuckistan.
Do we have any Australians out there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, farthest away.
Yeah, who's the farthest away?
Wins a prize, which is just a mention.
Chris Dabney says XRs for life.
Yeah, well.
Hey, Chris, do you want I need to sell an XR 650. So I should have done a roost end or for sale. I have it's a good running XR 650, well equipped XR 650. Needs a little bit of work. $4,000 out the door. Come and get it.
Yep.
Arizona title. Has a license plate. Come and get it. Need to sell it. I need to get the money for this guy that's probably going to have Larry the Leg Breaker come over here next, or send in a fleet of drones. I don't know what's going on. Western Pennsylvania. Andalusia, Alabama. I should know because I sent a lot of these guys T-shirts.
Yeah, Arkansas.
What a pain in the ass that was.
Central New York.
I respect people that work in the shipping departments now.
Yeah, it's good there's work for everybody.
Yeah.
At EUG rules, EUG rules.
Patagonia, Argentina. Okay, can we prove this, Jamie?
Jaime.
Calico Ghost Town. The riding's got to be good out there. Roth Howard. Can you use the XR as a light ADV bike? Well, the only reason I have it is because my wife told me we couldn't sell it because she didn't want to ride the big ADV bike. She wanted to ride the XR 650.
That's got an electric starter on it too, right?
Yeah, it's on there. I'm not really advertising because it'll still work, but it's not going to work for very long. The ring gear in there is wearing out, and they don't make them anymore.
Okay.
But yeah,
But it's got a kicker on it.
Los Center, Washington. People are just making places up now.
Okay. We'll never know. So
North Queensland, Australia. That's probably Facebook user is probably the guy I sent the T-shirt to.
So Facebook user has to realize if you click through the link other than just going to dirt bike test, you'll show up as Facebook user. Like if you know what it comes up Matt Mattoon's live now on dirt bike test.
Something like this.
If
Yeah.
you click on that, you'll only show up as Facebook user. You got to go to dirt bike test and click on that live one, and then we'll put a name to you, Facebook user. So maybe log out really quick, and we promise not to talk bad about you, and log back in, and we'll know what your name is or your handle.
That's
or
where I
whatever.
sent the shirt to. Was North Queensland, Australia,
Oh, cool.
at $44 for shipping.
Yeah, but he seems like a
No, he was
decent bloke. He wants,
Yeah.
he wants to support you, which is nice.
good. I hope he wears it proudly down there amongst all of his criminal friends.
Ugrils at Ugrils. What?
Haha, I don't know how I can prove it. I have some videos on my riding channel is all I think of. Okay, Jamie. If you're pulling that one out, I believe you. That's cool. No, Patagonia. I've ridden down through, but I was in Chile when I was down in the Patagonias.
Okay. Wife wants to go travel down there.
I snuck into Argentina illegally, and then I had to. The only way we got back across the border was I had to pull wheelies for the guards that were not because they were up. They were. It was really high in the mountains, of course, in the Patagonias. They were up like laying out on the rocks like lizards because it was so cold when we went through, so they didn't stop us. But then when we came back, they were down there with the guns and stuff, and our guide. Talked him into if I could pull wheelies back and forth, they would let us go across the border again without getting in trouble.
That was a little bit off in the weeds. That's what my blank stare was, Jimmy.
This is what people like
But
about
we
this
like
show.
to hear those stories. Yeah.
There was a guy who wanted to hear Dakar stories
In the
at
class
at
or
the class
something.
this weekend.
Yeah. Well,
I don't remember any of them. I told him I hit my head. I can't
you remember getting the trots and have to quit?
Yeah, I told him that story.
Yeah. Okay. What I need to know that I sprung the stock suspension for my weight equals good enough. Okay. We're talking probably English is a second language, which of course we embrace because English is a second language here, I guess. What do I need to know? He wants to spring a stock suspension for his weight to get it good enough. So first, this will segue into another conversation. First, Jimmy would say, set the sag, right?
Right.
And then have your suspension serviced. And don't
when it's new, when the bike's new, 10, 15 hours.
But don't be afraid to
And
play with the clickers.
You can run it 25 hours. It's not going to hurt. You can run it 100 hours. It's not going to hurt anything. But if you really want to get your bike, if you plan on keeping your bike for a long time, I would say service it within the first 20 hours. It's just like changing oil in your motor. Nobody's going to run their motor for like 30 hours before they change it the first time. Think the same way about your suspension. And then you have a nice baseline. You can play around with the clickers before you start sending it off and ask for these different things.
Do you have any more other information or the context of that thing?
To this
What bike is he talking about? Or
he said what I needed to know that I sprung the stock suspension for my. Oh, he was talking about my Tenere 700 video because I just released a new vlog on that, and so I answered all of his questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so my video was good enough.
So speaking of suspension,
Or his suspension's good enough.
I want to hear what you would say because I think I properly regurgitated what you've told me in the same scenario. So we went on a ride yesterday, out to Death Valley, going along. Alan was going along, commented, we stopped, we were talking, he commented that he was getting kind of beat up, he's riding a Sherco 300 4-stroke.
Oh, this is Alan's getting beat up.
Alan's getting a little beat up, gets off the bike, kind of pushes on it. You see it looks pretty soft. So let's hear what you would tell a guy standing there by the side of the road to deal with that, and then we'll talk about what we did do, advice I gave.
So if you push on it, it seems like it's plush, both front and rear, and it's balanced. So balance is really important at this point when you're talking about it, because if one end or the other end is weighting the other one, it's asking one end to do more work, or it's pushing it farther down in the stroke and not allowing it to work. So I always look for a certain amount of balance in the bike, and typically, especially somebody that's Allen size on a smaller bike like that, and whether or not it's been resprung, I don't know, but I'm gonna guess that it's packing. It's getting down into the stroke. It's too low in the stroke, and so it's riding in a stiffer part of the stroke. If it hasn't been sprung. If it's been properly sprung, and then it's up in the stroke, then all of a sudden I'm going to go into valving, damping force, and then it's like, is it on the compression or the rebound side, or how is it moving? And most riders can't really distinguish between the two. So if you can't, it's really simple. Try one, then try the other. So open up the compression 5 clicks. Does it get better? Close the compression back down. Open the rebound up 5 clicks. Does it get better? That'll tell you which side it could be on, or maybe it's both. Maybe it just needs to be freer. But typically, when typically it's a spring issue with most situations, or spring or balance.
So we started, because you kind of gave me the same advice and tuned mine up about packing it up, which made sense to me. So the first thing we did is we got on there and we saw that the clickers were all way on the low side for both. So very little compression, very little rebound. So we set them in the middle, and then what did we do from there? Because I was telling him you probably want to have it rebound faster and compress slower to keep it from getting up in that pack position. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's kind of where we were headed. And I forget if we got past where we ended up, but it felt better.
Has it been sprung for your weight?
Don't know.
No, that's the problem.
But anyway, his just adjusting the clickers made a noticeable difference in the right direction.
Right. They usually do.
And I was saying maybe take 5 clicks of rebound off and put 5 clicks of compression in and see what that does.
I did an ad for my suspension shop on the last show.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
You said you don't watch
Don't
this
drift.
show.
Well, I listen to it. I look at it if I think there's something I want to see. But no, so that was an interesting suspension.
So, Chris Dabney he put it on pause, so he's way behind in the show. But the funny thing is, if you chat at any time, no matter what part of the show you're watching, I know my lips don't match what I'm saying because I have a special feature built in, so I don't want anybody, to be doing lip syncing on this thing. But you chat whenever you chat, like if you watch this thing on the live feed and you type in the chat, even though it's not live, it goes into the chat and I can see it on the YouTube feed. You won't see it on the show, on the one that's publicized, but it pops up on the feed. In fact, a lot of times when I don't do a show on a Tuesday night, the chat gets a whole bunch of activity because people will go and they'll go, "Where's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday?" They'll click on an old show, and the chat is actually kind of active all the time. It's kind of like an answering machine on a phone. So if you want to
think about what I can do about that,
yeah, you can leave really bad messages for me. But Mike Pearson says, "Have I ever ridden in Arkansas?" I believe I have. Don't remember when, but when I used to travel all over to do enduros and ISD qualifiers, so pretty good. Mike Kamet says, Cole Smith, Townsville, Queensland. Cool. I did a ride with Roy Kunda. Oh boy, we're now getting off in the weeds. See, even the chat gets off in the weeds.
Yeah, I know. Can't help it.
Is that's so the last comment there. Impaired.
Oh, public. The broadcast cut off before could see Roost or Endo. Oops.
Yeah, that was last week. I tried to fix it in the podcast, but it was something changed on the settings.
Victor, I'm showing off my Tech Talk Taco Tuesday shirt. That's why I didn't wear my flannel, my poser cholo.
And I don't have my glasses on, and I'm not really.
And I'm
talking
wearing my
to-
glasses so I can read the comments because it's a janky system in here. You can't see nothing.
So we don't be cholos all the time, Victor.
So
That's only a Halloween.
are you
thing.
anxious to check out, or do you want to talk more tech stuff?
If you have more tech talk, that's what
So
I'm
we
here
had
for. It's part of my restitution.
we had a class this last weekend, big class.
Yes.
A lot of good people. So $790, guy just tipped it over in the sand.
By the way, you can go to www.jimmylewisoffroad.com to check out when our next classes are, or to become a better rider. And if you're a beginner rider and you want to get into riding, you want to learn how to ride properly, we have a beginner rider video series that is $40, I think, and it's all the stuff you really need to know, and you have no idea how important it is till you come to my class. Even though you check the box that says novice or intermediate, I guarantee you're missing out on something that's in that thing. For $40, it's probably the best $40 you could spend on your riding, even if you're a novice. So,
And a lot of, we see a lot of people overstate their abilities, sort of.
and
And a lot of it's because they really don't know.
just as
you
many
know?
people understate their abilities.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but people don't know if
5 rides doesn't
You
make
know.
you a novice.
what's it make you?
It could make you an expert if you pick up on it really quick.
Yeah.
But just because you have X amount of rides your skill level doesn't go up just because you've done different things. We have a really good on the website. There's a this is how we rate your skills. It says, can you do these things? Most people have refrained from that. Okay, so a guy with a 790.
So guy with a 790 tips over in the sand and then has no electrical
Wait, that's
connection.
a 690.
790.
No, the 790 was the one that fried the clutch.
Oh, you're right.
Right.
You're right.
As
Anyway,
usual.
690 tipped over in the sand. No signs of electricity whatsoever. We were out in a remote area, didn't have any tools between us or anything. So should I just talk about what we did to try and figure out what was going on, or you want to talk about the things you'd look for? Because I'd be curious.
So the first thing is when he tipped over in the sand, I was like, okay, turn the key off because the tip over sensor.
Okay.
People a lot of times forget this, and depending on the bike, sometimes you can just cycle the on-off switch. On a lot of bikes like my Tenere or that Honda Transalp, when you lay it all the way over, when you lay it over, there's a tip over sensor, and you have to turn the key on and off to get it to cycle back on.
But on all those bikes, wouldn't you still have some indication that there's power to
Yes.
the bike and instruments?
Right.
Had none of that.
No power. So at that point, if there's no power, then typically it's a battery terminal cable.
Right.
Ground to the frame is kind of common. KTM's are probably a little more. Even just sometimes there's corrosion on the battery terminals, just enough to where there's a jarring, and that's enough to make it loose, and it loses its contact. So I always go to battery terminals,
Yep.
followed immediately by the fuse that's right there, one of the big main fuses in that area. If it isn't the terminal, and then after that, who knows?
So that's kind of the direction we were all trying to, fool with and everything, no tools. And what I ended up doing, I sent for the truck, and then standing around is all I could find was, in the desert, I find wire all the time in my spokes, in my rim, wrapped around my sprocket. Couldn't find any wire, but I did find a tire pressure gauge, with standard metal tire pressure gauge. So the first thing I did was I tried to arc it from the positive to a ground somewhere, and got nothing. So I got nothing from that, no kind of spark or anything. So then the second thing I did
That means So that's
with the key, but I thought it still could be a ground. Maybe I
Right.
got no ground. So I turned the key on, and I tried to do the same thing with a negative and arc it to ground, hoping, if the lights went on, that'd be, okay, I lost a ground
Right.
somewhere. And it didn't happen. So I figure that lithium-ion battery, which is just a bunch of little soldered together batteries, something in there probably broke connection. The battery was just TU right there.
Yep.
So today I get a call from him. We started talking because he didn't really know what I did to test it. He didn't voltmeter it before he took it off or anything like that, but he put it on some kind of charger overnight, and he says, now it's all
It's all good.
good. And I told him to put a voltmeter on it
Yep.
and start jarring it around, maybe hitting it with a wrench on all sides and see what happens.
I'll tell you something that I've noticed with lithium-ion batteries is they have a shut-off when they drop below a certain voltage. So, and I've had this, like, if you just leave the key on, they go to a certain voltage, they drop down. Until you put a charge on them, they will not come back to life. There's a cutoff inside there. It's meant to save the battery. So that could have been that easily could have been the case. And I've had it happen with a lot of my bikes have like parasitic drains on them.
So this leads me to another thing, because he said then also it's the second time this battery has done something like...
Was this one of the batteries that has the jump start feature built into it?
It had a reset button on the top and a volt indicator type of thing. And the reset, we had gone through that, push it once, trying to hold it, got no life out of it. So I wonder if it could be that his battery's not charging and it's just getting so run down that...
I mean, how long was the bike laid over for? And like, does he have heated grips and light? There's so many factors that go into that with the bike. But I have seen lithium-ion batteries when they go down. So I've seen bikes that fall over and the fan's running and the headlights on. The guy takes a little while to get to it. And I've seen them pick them up, and then they're really hard to start. So and then you run it down below that threshold on the bike, and then it doesn't come back.
That's what I asked. I wanted to hear some
usually you can jump them at that point, though. Yeah, you can jump start it if you have cables or a jump pack. But you guys tried the jump pack; it didn't work.
Can't remember if we tried that on that.
There's a jump pack in the truck. I know that.
Yeah, we used it to get your your Tenere started. I know that.
Yeah. Oh, because I left my key on.
Yeah, and the battery ran it down, and then
I
left.
I left and told
said,
my
Heather,
wife,
take
told
that
my wife to go
back.
ride it. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
it was all part of the plan. And so Cole is asking about the fuel consumption on the TBI bikes, and he says he was getting 125 kilometers on his old TPI bike, and now he's only getting 70 kilometers on his TBI. I did not notice that the fuel consumption was any different between my TPI and the TBI that I have. So I know that there are a lot of different maps, and since he's going kilometers, I'm thinking he's someplace else in the world. I'm under the impression that there's a lot of different tunes on that bike, and I heard that some of the later ones, the efficiency went way up, and I guarantee you that my bike has, well, actually I heard there's a new one, there's another new setting or tune coming for that thing, but mine had the latest one. So if it is really bad, see if you can get the ECU reflash to a more current or updated setting. And if it's, especially if it's an SX, because I know on the SX they wanted to get some snap out of that bike, and they accomplished that by actually getting it to run like kind of a little rich on the bottom to act more like a carburetor. Problem with the fuel injected 2-strokes is they, just like the old fuel injected 4-strokes, is they're so perfect, they don't have the hit that an imperfect jetting, even though some people will call it perfect. The carburetor is just, when you make big changes, it snaps, and the TBI and TPI bikes don't do that.
Hey,
I mean, you can build it in, but
back at the beginning of the chat, somebody asked for any tricks. They're going to change the graphics on their bike. I remember heat gun was mentioned or something, but you've changed countless graphics on bikes. So you like spray a Windex or something on the sticker before you put it on so you can move it a little.
I don't.
Or anything?
No. I mean, you can put a little like, soapy water underneath it and stuff, but I've had best luck with just taking my time and laying it out, just setting it and then trying to lay it out, and then make sure I'm not getting air bubbles onto it. And if usually it's warm enough here to where it's not an issue, but if it's cold, then run a heat gun. But you don't want to get too crazy with the heat gun because they tend to, then it gets floppy and it'll trap air bubbles in it.
Yeah, just to stretch out a little
right
corner or something where it turns or whatever.
Right. So, and there's guys that are so good at that, and then I'm not really that good at it. I mean, I can kind of hack my way, but we had guys when we were doing the magazine bikes all the time because they're always putting numbers and graphics on it. and I just stood back because I'm not that good. I mean, I can get it done, but I don't even like putting graphics on stuff. So Chris Dabney says XR650 fifth gear wheelie. I'm in. Okay, just send me an email, Chris. I'll sell you that bike.
And then what's Cole say about just taking 2 batteries and shoving them together?
So he's talking about it's
Yeah.
a trick where you take the battery out of one bike, turn it upside down, and set it on top. So you're setting positive and positive negative. So you're essentially just using the other battery. For a while, I just carry the jump pack all the time now, and that's another battery. But I used to have a set of like a really small set of jumper cables that would work motorcycle to motorcycle, no problem. And then the other thing for my KTMs is I carry that capacitor thing. It's something you can get at Takomoto. That's takomoto.co. There's basically a capacitor that I carry with me. So in case your battery does go bad, your bike will still be able to run.
Right.
So, because if most of the KTM EXCs, a lot of the bikes now, if the battery's no good, you don't get to ride because the fuel pump doesn't.
And
come
I
on.
probably sound like a old points ignition guy. I don't want any of that electronic stuff, or I want a carburetor. But like on my 790, I'd replace the battery. I just put another lead acid in that thing. I mean, I've had good luck with lead acid batteries last. They also seem to give you a second chance towards the end. Instead of just this battery's done. If you can get it jumped or something running, you can get it home usually.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I think I've had one lithium battery try to light on fire, and I was charging with a charger that was a little too big. And it's funny because off the bike I've also put it on another lithium battery and got it to like expand. So this charger is just not good for that battery. Stop doing that. But other than that, I haven't had any other than batteries just going plain dead from just sitting. I've not had any like lithium ion problems. I know that when I adventure ride, I'm pretty careful about when I'm charging stuff off of the bike, in the evenings and stuff like that with my lithium batteries. They don't like that kind of stuff where I would say, yeah, if you're going to, you need to charge up your cameras or something like this, or your cell phone and stuff while you're not riding. I don't think the lithium ion battery is the best for that type of task. I mean, I don't think it's designed to crank. It's designed to be light and to crank, to give you some crank apps. So especially the ones in the motorcycle, I think when they design them to do cranking, they're not good at slow discharge. So anyways, any other questions?
No, nothing written down, nothing in the chat. I don't think.
Yeah,
a lot of comments, but
again, if you're looking for a job, even if you're in Australia, the commute's not that bad. You can go to takomoto.co and check that out. What else is going on? Let's see. I was actually not going to do the show because there was no race this weekend. I knew we wouldn't have anything to talk about. We always talk about the racing.
Yeah,
right.
You do. Just your racing. It was once upon a time the sun was coming up over a sand dune.
Right.
And there I was in all my glory.
Balls on
That's
fire.
what old guys do, is they relive the past.
Mm-hmm. Thanks everybody for chiming in, chatting in. We got 52 people that are currently chitter-chattering away. It's good.
I got another shameless plug for the Jimmy Lewis riding school. Is we were on our little ride, 4 of us, and in Death Valley, and we ran into one of the students from this last weekend's class who was down there, met his son, Jacob, and he had another friend with him. They were camping down by Echo Canyon somewhere, I guess. He had kind of a, earth roamer type of rig setup thing. But anyway, so then they were going, we're going to go down to Shoshone or something. Well, we got to get back. And how much gas do you have in that DRZ? And it was, he says, I got maybe 50 miles. And we said, it'll be all that to get down there. You want to go back to Furnace Creek and get gas. So we gas up. Now there's 7 of us? 7 bikes in tow. I look in the mirror, I'm out front, and now there's only 3 bikes. So I turn around and go back.
I kind of know where this is going now.
And the 2 guys that haven't been through the Jimmy Lewis class had crashed. One of them
Has nothing.
Basically, a long story short, both locked up their front tires and drove them into the ground. One of them lost air in his front tire for whatever reason.
So in other words, he got a flat tire.
He got a flat tire,
and it caused him to crash.
But I do believe that the popular consensus was when it got a little jiggly on that turn, he grabbed a handful and crashed, and the other guy was behind him, and he locked the front and went all the way into the ground. So I'd say, the money for the class would have paid for itself maybe in that one instance. And they were kind of banged up and road rashed and licked their wounds.
Yeah.
And went
Well,
on their way.
okay. So Mike says thanks for. He showed me a picture of his the box of stuff he got for Takamoto. So he won last week. He's already got his stuff that he ordered. He used his $100 off. And then Asher, who just says, let's see. Ricky Brabeck spills the beans on Jimmy's secret sauce rally training on Gypsy Tales podcast. Maybe. I don't know. Ricky doesn't even know what I do.
No.
It's a mystery to me, too. So Asher says he thinks he missed the show, but good thing, Asher, because I have your question right here. He says, hello, Jimmy. I have a 2005 DRZ 400 with a this and a that and all the other stuff and all the other things. He basically says, after consulting Facebook groups, I'm more confused than when I started because he has all these things. And the screen just went dead on my computer, so I'm paraphrasing. He's going to take the header pipe off of a dirt DRZ 400 and put it on his street DRZ 400. And he's been told that will instantly cause his bike to blow up all the way from that to like it doesn't make a bit of difference. It will make a difference. And he's already done other stuff to it, and everything you do to it, it's a pump. It changes the efficiency of it. So the answer to your question is, can you do it safely? Yes, because he's also gonna. I guess he has a donor dirt one that he's gonna start swapping parts over, and it's like, should he swap it all over at once? And it's like, no, you can do piece by piece because eventually he's gonna put the cams on it and with a different base gasket and all these different things.
So his goal is to increase performance of the motor.
Yeah, to try, because the street one is a little bit more choked up, or it's probably mostly done for sound. The valve, the cam duration and things like that. But you're going to get a little bit more horsepower and stuff. But essentially, I'm pretty sure he understands this. He went and raced the thing in a District 38 race. I remember he was telling the story. But you're flogging a dead horse at this point. I know you love that bike, evidently, but
he probably loves the process too. Guys like to tinker. They like to save money. They like to
and I mean, but
which is all good.
All you have to do is just kind of be aware of what you're doing. When you're changing these things, and if you run it, all of a sudden it starts not running that good. It's not going to just blow up because you put a header on there. It'll probably blow up because you mistimed the cams, and then it just drops a valve into the piston. But this is how you learn to just, if you really want more performance, just buy a different bike at that point. I know guys that used to fix up XR 400s and all these other things, and being a guy that had access to all kinds of parts and can still get a lot of stuff for free, I leave most of my bikes stock. I switch the bike to get the performance that I want, as opposed to trying to turn something into something that it's not. But like I said, in that process, you can do all this stuff, and they're rarely just going to instantly blow up. I'm more concerned with the guys that pop an ECU on their ECU on their bike, and the first thing they want to do is go rip it down the street and hold it wide open, and they've never held it wide open before, even with their stock one. It's like, you should have just held it wide open stock. It's pretty impressive.
So if his goal is just to get more performance out of that bike, that's okay to do that and maybe expect to get some kind of performance change. But if his goal is to do better in the racing, I'd say he'd be a lot better off learning how to ride better and safer at jimmylewisoffroad.com.
Oh, thanks, George. Yep.
And he would probably be safer, and speed would come along with that.
Yeah, and
because you could take a DRZ out on one of those races and slay certainly the people in this room.
Yeah.
on, performance. If we were all on performance bikes, you could probably
Yeah,
jump on one with not sprung for you.
It's not about it's again, it's up to a certain level. It's not really about the bike, but in modifying it, if you're doing one thing at a time and you're noticing, he said, "Hey, I'm going to jet it. I'm going to change the jetting and stuff." And a lot of times, the header will make a difference in the jetting. The muffler more so, but the header, some. I mean, I remember when we used to go from a standard muffler to like the FMF Mega Bomb, you always had to kind of increase the pilot jet size, or at least mess around with the fuel screw to get it a 4-stroke to run properly. 2-strokes, like almost always, if you change the pipe to get it work the best, you would also have to change the jetting. So this is just a normal thing. And now with the fuel injection, this is getting to be a lost art, because the fuel injection on kind of figures a lot of that out for you. I mean, on a lot of bikes it's still lean. If you do stuff that's going to allow it to lean out, sometimes they can't compensate enough, but do what you got to do. So cool, glad Ricky spilled the beans. If you want to do rally training, reach out. Didn't talk much about Nora, but that's coming up. That's going to make me pretty busy. But I'm going to go look at white shit for the next couple of days, I think. I think that's in my future. Yeah.
How much more work do you have to do on Nora before it starts?
Halfway. I mean, half the course is pretty much locked in. The other half, there's still I got some stuff I need to go explore. And
you got to go down there again?
Yep. 9 more days. I've got 9 more days to work on that for sure. So that's going to be an awesome course. There should have been a press release coming out kind of describing the course. I thought it was going to come out today. I don't know if it did, but it's going to be, I wish that I wasn't designing it so I could race it.
Explain the classes real quick.
The classes at Nora.
The different, there's like a sportsman and all that. Now, is the one class just you're going to go ride it? There's no real
Rally Pro, which is an Ironman class. They have to say this in Baja because, like everywhere in the world, rally is one rider, one bike does the whole event. There's no teams. But since it's Baja, Mexico is a lot of team racing. So anyways, Rally Pro, one rider, one bike, pro. Rally Sportsman, one rider, one bike. You ride the whole, the pro. The only difference between pro and amateur as far as the course goes is we have some longer transfers, and we're going to allow the amateurs to load their bikes up in a truck or a van or whatever and transport them if they want to, if they don't want to ride the transfers, just because it's a fun race, for them. So then the classes Nora has is they have a vintage class. So vintage class can be team, and that bike has to be 1999 or older. Any bike 1999 or older. And then there's a 50 class and there's a 60 class, which can be teams, and you can ride any bike in those. And the rally classes, the Rally Pro and Rally Amateur can ride any bike. There's no bike classes, so pretty simple, pretty easy. But yeah, you have to be old to be on a team, like 50. You have to be 50 to be a team, or you have to be riding an old bike. So that's the way it is. So if you have questions, send me an email. So I think that I wait till I blow it up, then do a rebuild with everything.
Is that the
the
DRZ?
Yeah, it's Asher Lito. That's he's back from Bible study. He has
he has to
rush
here all
home
the
from
time.
Bible study to get his motorcycle questions answered. But okay, guys. Well, I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap this show up. Oh, we should do a commercial break. I'm gonna just run the ads.
Why?
in the
They
middle of
run
the show.
out, didn't they?
Huh?
They ran out. I thought all those contracts expired.
Yeah, it makes the show better. Just watch our
The
ads.
defending champion, the all-new Yamaha YZ450.
Yeah, I left the mics hot, George. It's part of the shtick.
Oh, okay. We can talk about Victor.
Yeah, we like talk about Victor or all the other people.
What else
that
did
are
I want to talk about? Jim and I got maybe a new idea for some tours.
Oh, really?
You can have the wall of shame for 300 pistons. You got mine somewhere?
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto co-branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
George is back as a cholo. You waited through all those commercials just to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Can't button it.
Can't get it buttoned. His neck's too thick. You know, they say there's a direct correlation between the thickness of your neck and your waist.
Yeah.
That's how I try in pants.
It's not your waist that's thick.
Yeah.
It's a correlation between the other neck.
It's my brain cells.
The other neck and head.
So, okay, I got a text. I have to go rescue a friend who has a broken car, evidently. I got to check in and see if that's a problem. And then the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame would like to donate some shoes out here in Pahrump.
What do they call those? Zapatas or something?
Zapatos?
Zapatos?
Yeah, the shoes. Yeah, they want to, but it's actually harder to give away shoes than you would think, because everybody thinks you want something for it, and all they want to do is give away some shoes. So the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, that's their
You know what they
way
should
to
do?
give back.
Take the shoes to noobs out there. There's those cheap bastards will take whatever they can get.
Right. Yeah, no kidding, huh? I'm actually doing demos out there again.
Oh, you're going to go out because
I think I'm booked.
Jim's booked. Jeremy's going. He's bringing somebody, and I like to support Joel. I might go out there.
You're just going to drive my ass out there. I'll probably start drinking by then.
No, I'll be there before then. I'll already be out there. I might drive you out there, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so everybody, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching the show. Gronk says cheerio. That's a nice way to say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, I thought that was kind of the FU of Down Under.
That might be. You never know.
That's Gronk. He's up over.
Yeah. No, he's underground in Canada.
Yeah.
So
okay. There's Victor.
We're going to be testing a few things, mostly how well my skis carve powder. That's it. So with that, everybody, we will see you out on the trail.
And we do see people on the trail.
Oh, yeah. How to make this damn show end?
That's what they're all asking themselves.
Oh, I know.
That wasn't it. That was
it. There's a thing over here that I push. There's a button someplace. The best part is if you got to watch it live, you're good, because this show is going to take a long time to get put up on the internets, and I can't find
ski slopes.
I can't find the end. Here's the outro right there. There we go. Cheers, everybody. See you.